My name is Sueki Yee and I'm from Malaysia. And a little bit about my background.
Yes.
I'm actually now a company dancer with a company in Malaysia. It's called Us Dance Company. But I also do my own individual projects like this one. So it's balancing between being a company dancer and also being an individual artist. And my background is I started with ballet and contemporary when I was younger, and then I studied a degree in dance in Aswara, which is a university, a National Academy of Arts in Malaysia. And because Malaysia is very multicultural, so we had to learn everything. So we have to learn Indian classical dance, Malay folk dance, Chinese dance, but also, of course, ballet and contemporary and choreography and theory subjects. So it is a lot. And in the beginning was really hard, but I believe it gives me a different dimension, learning all these different forms of, and also modern and also traditional, and learning how to balance between all these different forms. And so now my company does also all these different forms, Indian classical dance, but also contemporary, also Malay dance, all these different forms. But as an individual artist, I focus more on contemporary dance.
No?
I think there are different ways of keeping that, but I think it's maybe not a question about keeping it, but it's naturally there. Exactly. And so, well, I didn't study traditional dance since I was young, only a bit later, but I think tradition is in everything, even in the way you think, the way you move, and I think even things like the themes, the ideas, it's maybe not traditional, but it's maybe Malaysian. And like for me, after learning all these different traditional forms, and it's so different, Indian classical dance and Malay folk dance and Chinese dance is so different. But all this different vocabulary gives me a wider range of possibilities in the movement, in the type of energy, in the feeling is also different. So I think all this is something that I can play with even when I'm creating a contemporary work, but I can choose to, what I want to use, what I want to, So that's great for me. The title is a bit long. But would you know if a fishbowl is just a fishbowl? It's a strange title.
Okay.
It's a question. It's actually from a Pink Floyd song. Called Wish You Were Here. And I remember I was on the train and I'm listening to, I don't listen to a lot of Pink Floyd songs, but I have a few. And in Wish You Were Here, there's a line that says, but we are just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year. And I think, it's true, like we live life, but we think we know what we're doing, but actually we don't know, and we're kind of lost, and we're just kind of figuring it out as we go. And this idea of this fishbowl being our world, and I start thinking, like a fish in a fishbowl doesn't know that it's just a fishbowl in a house, in a country, on earth is nothing. I mean, not nothing, but it's, So I imagine in life, we don't know what is anything actually, and for my particular not story, but for the journey of the piece. So I'm questioning what happens when you find out, it's just a fishbowl, and you go out and you realize, there's so much other stuff. But in the end, maybe sometimes you're trapped, maybe because you only know how to survive in a fishbowl, even though there's a whole other world, and you realize, there's so much stuff, but you can't survive, or maybe, it's this idea about comfort zone. And I think also a lot of people are living life like that now, that they prefer to, ignore the problems and prefer to ignore all these outside things, and like, I'm just going to stay here. And so it's like a reflection on that. I think actually for different choreographies, I work a little bit differently depending on the departure point, like you say, like what spark off. And because this one was, just the idea of this journey of being in a fishbowl and realizing there's something else, but then realizing that, you know, you're still trapped. So I actually focus a lot on when discovering movement for this piece, but other pieces may be a little bit different. But for this piece, I focus a lot on finding where the movement leads you.
Okay.
So instead of actively thinking I want to do 1, 2, 3, you know, it's okay, I'm just going to focus on this movement. So this is, you know, and I, you know, repeat it a bit, and I feel and try to listen to the movement, and okay, I think it's bringing me here. So
Okay.
so it's a little bit like discovering. Instead of planning it, but like seeing where the movement takes me.
Clever.
Because I think this piece is about searching. It's always about searching and discovering, and I sort of went with that in my process of
Exactly.
creation. Yes, I think solos is a very different kind of work than group pieces or other pieces, because it is very much, like you say, about discovery and searching. It's very much focused on the individual. So when you're working on a group piece or duet, sometimes, you know, then you're exploring connections, or you're maybe visual, or, you know, like the energy of the group, or like, yeah. So but solo, it's a little bit like you cannot rely on all these other things, you know. It's okay, what are you going to do? And you're the only person on stage, and, you know, and there's so much space. But at the same time, it's really focused, I think, the energy. So for me, it's always very interesting to watch a solo, because you feel like you are not just seeing the piece, but you're seeing the person or the individual.
Exactly.
And it's something maybe is quite sensitive, it's quite raw sometimes. And I think having a festival that focuses on that is very interesting, because especially as it's international, and you see dancers from like I'm excited to watch tomorrow and on the 10th, but I watched yesterday, and you know, these artists from different places, and it's very interesting how this I believe it's because of the culture and the history, and I mean, you know, all these things that shape the individual and how they bring it. And it's like what you said about tradition, you know, it's not necessarily like I want to show this is my culture, but somehow it is there. And so by seeing it, it's like discovering there are so many different kinds of people and so many different kinds of thinking, and, you know, all these ideas are like I would have never thought of that, you know. And it's very like refreshing for me to see all these ideas.
Yes.